Well, thank you so much for inviting me in here today. I am honored and appreciate that this connection can happen today. So I thank all who has been able to assist with this, including Dolores, who has been the fundamental inspiration for this. And her and I have had such a beautiful journey together, and this is extraordinary how I'm speaking to this vehicle today. Um, very, very interesting and appropriate at this time. The questions that are laid to me now, I will answer. The timeline that you are in now is quite different, and this is the one that I had hoped you would have all been able to shift towards. There is nothing to fear. The Antichrist has been disabled. He is no longer the fear factor that you should be afraid of. There is no such thing as the Antichrist as such as a person anymore. He was a different timeline. You can be reassured of that. You are now conscious of the potential of having the Antichrist as such, as you know that is not the name I was comfortable with him being referred to, because there had the religious connotations to it. So therefore he was just anti-humanity, shall we say. He was not a person who wanted to share the positive, honest truth about the light. And he was the greater force of trying to bring in the darker agenda for his own personal agenda and for his own needs. But that is a different timeline, and we understand, and I understand when I look through the audience who is listening here, they can't comprehend that there was a different timeline and that we have been all in different timelines, and we jump into different timelines as our consciousness shifts. As there is no such thing as time, it is a very complex understanding that I understand and appreciate. That there is a lot of faith that you must have to be able to follow this conversation. And so I will try my best to update you all on the current timeline you are in. If you're listening to this, this is applying to you. You are in the final timeline for the final shift for this planet. And what does that mean, you ask yourself? It means that humanity is evolving. It is transcending into the next dimension. It is a physical shift and it is a mental shift. You are completely embodying your 3D reality right now, and you will be shifting with the earth as she evolves herself into the higher dimension. She will look different, and so will you. And that concept is very airy as you sit there in your room looking around at all your physical possessions and your physical body, and you can't possibly comprehend what I am saying to you. And that is okay. Do not be afraid. If you sense anything that you hear these days that makes you feel afraid, acknowledge the fear and remember these words. Feeding into fear will only create the problem you are perceiving as fear. Dolores says this, and all other good light workers will say this. This is something that you need to take seriously. You are in control of one being, which is yourself and your mind. And if you allow your mind to go into fear, you will have the problems of living in a 3D fearful world. And this is what the shift is all about. You physically are moving into the fifth dimension and releasing all fear. You may choose to use these last months to go and live in fear and be terrified and watch the news and believe everything is going to get you and you are a vulnerable little butterfly, shall we say. But you are not. You are bigger beings, and you're having this experience for learning and exploring and mastering yourself and your emotions, mastering your body, and mastering the situation that you have. Nothing is happening to you what you don't do to yourself. Remember, you are more powerful than you give yourselves credit for. And we understand that the people we are talking to right now, most of you understand this and know this, and this is a little reminder. And for some of you, you've realized that where you've gone wrong in your path, and you've collected fear as if it's some sort of collection cards of pride. We're using this analogy for some. You don't need to collect fear. You don't need to be aware of all of the things that have happened wrong in humanity. You don't have to own and hold on to any of the tragedies, any of the crimes that have happened against humanity. Just understand that that is one of the many, many, many reasons why you're having this bigger shift in evolution, is to get away from the very slippery slope that humanity was driving itself into, very low with not much positive outcome. And as I had been discussing many times with Dolores in our sessions, there was a much grave, darker future, and that has been resolved. It has been rerouted, realigned, readdressed, and you're definitely now on the different timelines. And Dolores's work was a tremendous challenge for her to share, because it just seemed like it was so scary and fear-based. She had to grow herself a lot to be able to fully trust and comprehend and understand the information she was being given. And I want to acknowledge and show gratitude to all of the beings who have supported Dolores when she was alive, and for all the beings who are supporting Dolores's work now, and for all the practitioners here who are doing their hard work to help raise humanity's vibration and release all fear, release all outstanding karma that can be done on this side of the dimensions that you are living in now. So therefore, the Antichrist, as you call, is no longer a being in your dimension. You are safe from him, and you are safe from everything. Use this time to grow within. You have all of the answers within. Spend some quiet time in a state of meditation, however you see fit, and train your mind to release all the outside noise, anything that sounds like fear that may trigger your emotions. You can leave that aside. Enjoy the way that feels to have inner peace and know that you are your own refuge. The question for the great genius is the collective of all the consciousnesses of humanity, who are collectively waking up and understanding they are but merely in a dream. And when you evolve and shift into the fifth dimension, you will have the more greater understanding and the wisdom. Your veils will be removed. You will be more aware of who you are, and you will enjoy your fifth dimensional new earth realities. It has many excitements, many blessings and many joys to be had in that reality. And also, you can explore your own past gifts from your own past lives. You can fully connect with yourself, bring yourself together fine-tune. You will be the greater version of all of the lives you have had. You'll be working on that. It is excitement times, and you have so lost your path, so lost, being stuck in the reality that you believe right now is real. That when the veil is lifted, when you physically shift, when your mindset shifts up to the 5th dimension, you will be so pleased once you are there and have that bigger picture perspective. We understand that the last remnants of we understand the last remnants of 3D are challenging, hard. There's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of fear-based misinformation out there. We understand that. Use your time wisely. Find the joy and drop everything that no longer serves you. And you've known this. But we also know that the stress and worry and fear of everyone is very real. And you can feel it all as your vibration shifts up. You're more connected, and therefore you can feel other people's energies. And that is why a 5th dimensional being will go to the supermarket and come home with a 3rd dimensional mindset. Because unfortunately you have collected all of the emotional states of every other being. You have put yourself into electrical field energies of. And that is natural, and that is fine, and you can ground yourself. You can release all that. You can protect yourself. Think of it as a service to others to help remove their blocks. Don't hold on to it. Be the transformation of energy. Can collect some of that harder energy for those other people and release it. On your way home, you can stomp that energy out into the ground, do a little dance, have some fun with it, knowing you're helping yourself and others. This is the time to help yourself and others, not by shaming them because they are wearing their mask of fear. With a smile and the kindness of your heart and your connection to others, you will be helping them. And we ask you, have you been doing your own inner work, and have you been helping others at the same time? There is a lot for you to do in these last few months of the 3rd dimension. You are free. You obviously have free will to do as you choose. And settle in with your morals. Settle deeply into your morals now. Choose to use your free will, and also focus to your morals. Be kind to each other. The extensions of self. Love others. We have said this many times. Love each other as an extension of self. And some of you have still got the lack of self-love. And that is okay. You are getting there. However you can release your judgment on self. Imagine now, if you will, if you close your eyes and you're extending your hands out and you're connecting the person on one side and you're connecting another person on another side. Imagine we're all holding hands together now in a big circle around the earth, because we are speaking to people who are around the earth right now. And hold energetically hands and connect, and look to one side and say, thank you, I love you, I love me, I love you. And look to the other side and say, I thank you, I love you, I love me. And then now focus on the energy that we have together as a collective right now. Squeeze out with your hands the fear, the worry. Squeeze that out. Squeeze all of the unresolved anger, fear, all of the emotions that you haven't quite been able to process. Put those into the anger of your hands and the tightness and the feel of your fists. Now, release. And we will all release together. And we will all embrace the feelings of our bodies tingling as we all have just collectively released all that has not been serving us. And that energy will go into the earth and then be transmuted through, and all will be well now. You have now released all that has been blocking you, and we thank you for that opportunity. And why we were connected before with Nostradamus, he is now part of the greater collective that is helping humanity. His soul connection, his soul consciousness is now back in with Source. And so while we did connect with him and his consciousness as he was embodied when he was Nostradamus, we've now moved the conversation. You are now speaking with the collective. We know you're asking who, what name. We are the Jesus Christ consciousness. We are the consciousness of humanity. We are the greater good of all. We see all and feel all. Humanity is doing so well. And we know that you feel that it's not. We know that you worry that it's not. But that is because you're only seeing beings in the third dimension living their very complicated and very emotional lives. So yes, in that level, yes, it is very much so challenging and feeling very limited. However, we would like to encourage and support you today in saying from our perspective, for our greater wisdom and knowledge, looking down at you all, and also connecting to all of your higher selves, and to all of your subconsciouses, and to all the other greater beings here that are lending their wisdom and love to you. You are doing well. We are so proud of all who are here to help today. Trust that you're going to have a very natural evolution shift. We are so excited for you all, because even if you imagine your bestest outcome and wildest dreams that you could do, we promise you that will be delivered and so much more. We cannot express to you all of the details of what is going to look like for you in the fifth dimension. The earth is so excited to shift. She is so tired of this dimension. So we honor her today, and we thank her for being the beautiful vehicle for you all to have this experience. Thank you for your ears and your hearts. And we ask you to release, as we did before, all judgment on others, how they process their paths. The person you may think of who is the least awake, think about them now. If we told you they will also shift to the fifth dimension, would that surprise you? Just because they're experiencing a more, in quotation marks, unevolved, unawake lifetime in this third dimension, does not mean that they don't have tremendous big souls who are simply choosing to have this experience in the 3D with no understanding or comprehension of the shift. They are wanting the veil to be firmly placed down upon them as they explore and learn all of the lessons that have been provided for them. This is wonderful for them, and while they may be struggling, that's exactly the struggle they wanted. Remember, your lives on Earth in the third dimension is merely one page out of an encyclopedia of all experiences that you're all having, that you've all had. There is only a few beings that have not had any lifetimes before this current one. And most of the people we're speaking to have had multitudes of lifetimes, not just here on Earth, but also around the universes. Well, you're most focused on your current 3D life. Remember that there is much more to you than you know, and we can see all. So you can trust. You will find out in due time. The shift is happening, and we will understand it is a big concept for you. If it's too overwhelming, that is fine. You can release that. It doesn't matter if you're ready or not. It will happen. And if you feel like you're not ready, potentially that was in your life contract to experience all the emotional journeys that you're having right now before the shift. Are you placing too much judgment on yourself? Are you placing too much pressure on yourself? You don't need to know the finer details of your individual life contracts to know how you should be navigating yourself at this present time. Trust yourself. Trust that you have put down in your life contract exactly what you needed to experience and explore. We have given you enough food for thought, and you're welcome to ask us more down the track. And we appreciate and we still feel the energy of all when we have the handheld collective experience and exercise. You may want to go back to that a few times if you are feeling the energy struggle again, the emotional waves of struggles coming through again. You don't have to listen to us, but just remember, focusing on clenching your fists, placing all of that frustration and emotion as you feel the wave of anything that is not love, and release and let go. And this is a very powerful tool, and we are glad and very honored that you have listened and experienced this with us today. We know it will help many, and we're always here to help you. And please focus on your inner truth and always be guided with what resonates with you. And if anything feels like fear, you know what to do. We say this with love.